Zendaya reportedly doesn't want to do any press with Sydney Sweeney for the new season of Euphoria, and honestly, I don't blame her. Zendaya's always been a star, but since the last season of Euphoria, she has bumped up to an A-lister, and I don't think she wants Sydney Sweeney's drama dragging her down. For Sydney, she's down to do press with everyone. She has no hard feelings, but Zendaya doesn't want her name associated with Sydney, who likes to do brand deals that are controversial.
Sydney Sweeney is going through what many people online are calling the messiest stretch of her entire career, and the internet has been absolutely ruthless about it. In what feels like no time at all, her name has been popping up in controversy after controversy, and people across social media are not holding back with their opinions. The momentum she spent years grinding to build suddenly looks shaky, with drama stacking up one after another and her public image taking hit after hit. Behind the scenes, industry chatter claims some former co-stars are quietly keeping their distance.
So Sydney Sweeney is having the worst week of her career, and here's why. First, 2 of her movies flopped back to back, and now she's about to drop her 3rd project, The Housemaid, but the buzz around it isn't looking good either. And then out of nowhere, she drops an apology about.
And there are even rumors going around that Zendaya has avoided shared press moments and interview seating with Sydney altogether. On top of all that, gossip blogs started spreading unverified claims involving Zendaya's fiancé, Tom Holland, and that only cranked the tension up even higher. Suddenly, the rumors were flying everywhere online, and the whole situation started to look even more chaotic and uncomfortable for everyone involved. Whether those stories are true or not, the box office numbers haven't exactly helped her case either. Recently, people online began labeling Sydney as one of the actors connected to several big movie flops with surprisingly low returns, something critics jumped on fast. Add a few brand missteps into the mix, and the whole conversation around her career has shifted quickly, and not in a good way. One of the biggest turning points came when the American Eagle controversy exploded online. After backlash over a campaign that many viewers said made them seriously uncomfortable, the situation quickly spiraled across social media. Not long after the criticism started piling up, reports claimed the company quietly moved on and replaced Sydney with Martha Stewart instead, a move that spoke volumes without them needing to say a single word. That moment alone made people start wondering if major brands were stepping back from supporting her. And it didn't stop there either. More drama stacked up fast, with rumors about cheating, a strange novelty product that critics slammed for crossing ethical lines, and growing frustration online about the lack of clear public apologies. The pile of controversies just kept getting bigger. Critics started saying Sydney carried herself like nothing could touch her, like the backlash would never really reach her.
Turns out, American Eagle straight up dropped her. Yep, the same brand she tried to stand by after all the backlash. They said nah and replaced her with none other than Martha Stewart. Yes, you heard that right, Martha Stewart, an 84-year-old woman. She's literally just showing up, wearing denim, smiling, and bringing zero drama. So, not only did Sydney lose the campaign, but she got.
But this year told a completely different story. Suddenly, the criticism got louder, the pressure got heavier, and people online began questioning everything around her career. Some insiders now claim the next year could be her final real shot at a full reset, a moment that could rebuild her image or lock the damage in for good. And when it comes to that upcoming project, a lot of fans already think they know exactly which one it is. Before all this chaos, Sydney's rise looked almost perfectly planned. She picked roles that showed off her intensity, her unpredictable energy, and yes, her strong screen presence, which often became a major talking point on its own. Those early choices brought praise, massive attention, and serious buzz, which makes the sudden shift in public opinion feel even more shocking. The big question now is pretty simple. Can Sydney Sweeney flip the whole story around, or are we watching the start of a slow fade from Hollywood's spotlight? For a long time, people believed she had way more going on than just surface-level appeal. She chose roles that actually had depth, characters that looked like they could carry a serious, long-term career. When she first broke out, viewers were genuinely excited watching her climb higher and higher, especially during her time as Cassie on Euphoria. Back then, she came across as young, magnetic, and emotionally fearless on screen. Episode after episode, she pulled off intense emotional swings that kept people glued to the screen. 1 minute vulnerable, the next completely chaotic, and that made her impossible to ignore. Pretty quickly, she became one of the biggest scene stealers on the show, grabbing attention every time she appeared. Everything seemed to line up perfectly at that moment. The early 2020s were all about empowerment, self-expression, and owning your identity, and her public image slid right into that cultural wave like it was made for it. She looked completely locked into the moment, picking roles that spoke directly to the audience of that era. A lot of her projects carried strong social themes too, with storylines touching on women's independence, power dynamics, and even class divides. Shows like The White Lotus pushed those conversations even further, and Sydney's involvement made it seem like she was standing right in the middle of those modern discussions. To many fans, she appeared aligned with bold, outspoken ideas that were shaping pop culture at the time. For a while, that image worked extremely well for her. It felt intentional, almost like she was signaling to the audience that she was socially aware, tuned in to the culture, and someone people could support without hesitation. Fans trusted that version of her, and the industry rewarded it too. But as the drama around her started building, a new question spread across social media fast. Was she simply adapting to what people wanted to see back then? Or was that public image never completely real in the first place? As the culture around her started shifting, some people began wondering if what they were seeing wasn't growth at all, but small cracks finally starting to show. Those cracks became impossible to ignore during a controversy in 2021 that caught a lot of fans completely off guard. Photos from her mother's 60th birthday party suddenly started circulating online, and people quickly noticed red hats in the crowd, along with a guest wearing a Blue Lives Matter shirt. Social media instantly lit up with confusion and debate because the images seemed to clash with the progressive roles and messaging many people associated with her career. The reaction was fast and intense. Sydney responded not long after, staying calm and saying the situation was being misunderstood while asking people to stop jumping to conclusions, and she also shared love and birthday wishes for her mom. For a moment, that response seemed to work. The backlash cooled down, and the story faded from headlines pretty quickly. But even though that moment faded from the headlines, the internet never really forgets anything. Over time, the old photos and debates started resurfacing again in online discussions, especially as Sydney's name kept appearing in new controversies. People began digging back through past moments, trying to connect dots and figure out whether those earlier situations meant more than they seemed at the time. Suddenly, the conversation around her image started shifting in a big way. What once looked like a carefully built public persona now had some viewers questioning how authentic it really was. Online threads, reaction videos, and gossip pages kept revisiting those old moments, asking the same question again and again. Was the version of Sydney that fans supported back then the real one, or just a version that worked perfectly for that moment in time? From there, every new headline started getting way more attention than it normally would. Once the internet begins questioning someone's image, even the smallest stories can suddenly explode into massive debates overnight. That's exactly what started happening with Sydney, as online critics watched every move and every appearance with a lot more skepticism than before. Some fans still defended her and argued that people were reading way too much into random moments, but others felt the pattern of controversies was starting to grow harder to ignore. Comment sections filled up with arguments, theories, and breakdowns of her career choices, turning every new update into another wave of discussion. And once that kind of spotlight locks onto a celebrity, escaping it becomes almost impossible. Not long after that, her career suddenly surged again thanks to the rom-com Anyone But You. The movie smashed expectations, shocked the box office, and somehow revived a genre many people thought was already fading out. Made on a relatively small budget, it pulled in massive money and quickly turned into one of those surprise hits everyone started talking about. But behind all that success, whispers were already floating around, with some people claiming the hype wasn't only about the movie, it was also about the off-screen rumors surrounding the two stars. Even though both actors were publicly in long-term relationships at the time, fans couldn't stop pointing out the chemistry between them. Behind-the-scenes photos started spreading online fast, and people noticed how close they looked, leaning in, touching, laughing together in ways that seemed a little too natural when cameras weren't even rolling. Social media detectives watched every clip and every photo carefully, and since neither of them clearly confirmed or denied anything, the mystery only grew bigger, sparking curiosity and pushing more people to watch the film just to see that chemistry for themselves. And in the end, the strategy seemed to work because the movie absolutely blew up at the box office. While the rumors kept spreading, Sydney stayed completely silent the whole time, which gave her plenty of space to avoid directly addressing anything. She never confirmed any of the speculation, even after Glenn's engagement eventually ended, and that silence became a huge part of the conversation online. Some critics began saying the mystery itself helped keep the spotlight on her because people couldn't stop debating what was actually going on behind the scenes. From that point on, some commentators started arguing that controversy had quietly become part of the formula around her name. The pattern they described sounded simple: spark outrage, grab attention, stay quiet, and let the internet argue until the story fades away. For a while, that approach seemed to keep her constantly trending. But eventually, the reaction started changing. The backlash began piling up faster, and newer controversies didn't land the same way anymore. A strange novelty product launch and a heavily criticized soap campaign triggered fresh outrage, with many viewers saying the messaging crossed uncomfortable ethical lines. That's the point where many critics say the shock factor strategy finally went too far. The same silence that once protected her from backlash suddenly started working against her. This time, the internet didn't just shrug and move on. People kept talking, reposting clips, and revisiting old moments that had already faded once before. What used to look bold and empowering to fans began to feel very different in the public conversation. Some commentators argued the image around her started drifting into something that felt outdated rather than empowering. Instead of looking like someone reclaiming control of her own narrative, critics said the branding around her began inviting attention that felt more like old-school Hollywood objectification. To them, the whole thing started looking less modern and less intentional than it once did. And then 2024 arrived, and the situation cracked open even more. Public records about her voter registration started circulating online, and for some fans that moment felt like a complete mask-off situation. Suddenly, older rumors about her personal beliefs didn't seem so far-fetched anymore. The trust and excitement she built during the Euphoria era started slipping fast, and the internet conversation around her changed almost overnight. But the real explosion hit when the American Eagle jeans campaign dropped. Almost immediately, viewers started raising eyebrows over the ad's messaging about certain traits being passed down. For many people watching, that line set off alarm bells right away. Some called it tone-deaf, while others argued the wording felt strangely coded and uncomfortable. Social media lit up with debates, reactions, and breakdowns of the campaign, with critics accusing it of leaning into ideas that made a lot of viewers uneasy. Once again, Sydney seemed to fall back on the same strategy, staying quiet and leaving room for interpretation instead of directly addressing the backlash. But this time, the internet didn't slow down. The criticism moved faster than her usual playbook could handle, and the story spiraled across platforms before any clear response could calm things down. Fans who once felt connected to her suddenly felt confused or even disappointed. Almost overnight, the audience around her shifted, and the loudest praise started coming from corners she had never openly aligned herself with before. Soon after, commentary pieces across the internet started framing her as a symbol in a much bigger cultural argument. Articles, reaction videos, and social media threads kept analyzing the situation from every angle, turning the controversy into something way larger than just a single ad campaign. But the moment many people were waiting for never really came. She never clearly addressed the issue in a way that fully shut the debate down, and when an opportunity appeared to calm things with a direct statement, it didn't happen. For a lot of critics, that was the turning point where disappointment turned into real anger. Many fans said the solution seemed simple: just clearly state that she doesn't support hateful ideas or prejudice, and close the door on the speculation once and for all. But instead, her response came across to some viewers as distant and dismissive. She explained that when she chooses to speak about something she truly cares about, she will. And somehow that answer only made the silence around the situation feel even louder. For many people watching the situation unfold, this felt like the exact moment where stepping back could have changed everything. A quick clarification, something simple and human, might have cooled the outrage almost instantly. Instead, critics say it looked like she let the storm keep spinning while staying silent, and that decision only made the tension grow louder across social media. What really pushed the debate even further was her reaction to the sudden attention coming from well-known political figures. During one moment, she described the attention as surreal, and the smile that followed didn't land well with everyone watching. To some viewers, it came across more like pride than discomfort, which made critics question her awareness of the situation even more. Of course, plenty of fans still defend her, arguing she may not have fully understood the deeper messaging people were reacting to and that the outrage went too far. But others remain skeptical, especially when they compare how quickly other stars handle controversies like this. A lot of Gen Z actresses and pop stars today move quickly when political narratives start forming around them. If something pops up that they don't agree with, they usually shut it down fast and draw a very clear line in public. Because of that, critics say Sydney's silence started feeling less like confusion and more like a deliberate choice. And that's where the conversation gets uncomfortable for some viewers. People began wondering if she was leaning into the shift instead of pushing back against it. At the same time, a new wave of support started coming from conservative media spaces, but that attention sparked another debate online. Some critics pointed out that much of that hype focused more on what she symbolized in cultural arguments rather than her acting itself. And history shows that support built around controversy can disappear just as fast as it appears. Meanwhile, her box office numbers haven't helped calm the conversation either. This year alone, she appeared in 4 films that struggled to connect with audiences in a major way, adding even more pressure to her already complicated public image. One of the most talked about examples was Christie, where Sydney stepped into the role of real-life boxer Christy Martin. This wasn't just another acting job either. It was a passion project released under her own production company and promoted heavily across media. The film rolled out in more than 2,000 theaters, which normally signals a big launch. But when opening weekend arrived, the numbers shocked a lot of people. The movie barely pulled in just over $1 million, placing it among the weakest openings for a release that large. Then things didn't really improve. Another film, Americano, reportedly struggled even more despite having a multi-million-dollar budget and a wide theatrical release. At the box office, it failed to even cross $500,000, leaving analysts scratching their heads. Not long after, Eden followed a similar pattern, turning what looked like a huge production investment into a surprisingly small return. At this point, most critics aren't questioning whether she has talent. The real debate is whether the constant stream of controversy surrounding her name has started pushing audiences away from theaters altogether. Some viewers openly admit they just don't feel like supporting someone who turned them off after all the recent drama. Others say they avoid the films entirely, not because they hate the movies, but because they don't want the awkward conversations or judgment that might come with it. Either way, the numbers on the board are hard to ignore, and the fallout is starting to look very real. Gen Z audiences in particular are extremely online and hyper-aware of everything happening around celebrities. So many people believe the controversies surrounding her absolutely played a role in the weak box office results. When Christie underperformed, Sydney addressed the situation by saying the film wasn't created just to chase big numbers. Instead, she explained that the project was about impact and meaning to her personally. She even described it as the most meaningful work of her career, adding that if the story helped even one woman feel stronger or take a step toward safety, then the film had already succeeded. She also said she was proud of the project no matter what the box office said. But that response didn't sit well with everyone watching the situation unfold. Then the situation took another sharp turn when actress Ruby Rose publicly pushed back, and she didn't hold back at all. Ruby revealed that she had once been attached to an earlier version of the Christie script and described that version as powerful and life-changing. But when the controversy started building, she made her feelings crystal clear. Ruby said, "None of the people want to see someone who hates them, parading around and pretending to be us." She went even further, adding, "You are a grifter. You ruined the film period. Christie deserved better." That statement exploded across social media almost instantly and turned into a massive PR headache overnight. Suddenly, the conversation around the movie wasn't about the story or the performances anymore. It was about the public clash. Around the same time, more context from behind the scenes started circulating. Reports claimed the American Eagle backlash had actually erupted while Sydney was filming Euphoria Season 3. She and Zendaya were reportedly on set during that period, but insiders began hinting that the atmosphere between people on set may have shifted dramatically after the controversy started spreading. Some reports even claimed that Zendaya had started creating distance behind the scenes. According to those sources, she was allegedly avoiding shared press appearances and even skipping situations where the two might end up sitting together during interviews. One report went further, suggesting Zendaya had refused to take the stage alongside her Euphoria co-star Sydney during certain promotional events tied to the show's upcoming third season. Whether those claims are fully confirmed or just industry rumors, the optics around the situation haven't looked great. Between the growing criticism online, the box office struggles, and whispers about tension behind the scenes, the pressure around Sydney's public image keeps building. From a PR perspective, some commentators say it's easy to see why another major star might want to stay cautious right now. In today's social media environment, even a single red carpet photo can explode into headlines and start a brand new wave of speculation overnight. The two actresses basically grew up together while filming Euphoria, and for a long time fans saw them as genuinely close. They shared scenes, interviews, and plenty of behind-the-scenes moments that made people believe there was real friendship there. That's why the current situation feels even more awkward to many viewers watching from the outside. According to some insiders, Zendaya has reportedly been uncomfortable with the direction of the controversy surrounding Sydney, especially the way the backlash was handled and the lack of a clear response about the ad campaign. Those reports claim the situation created tension behind the scenes, though nothing has ever been officially confirmed. Still, the rumors keep circulating across entertainment blogs and fan pages. And considering how carefully Zendaya protects her public image, some people believe it wouldn't be surprising if she quietly chose to keep a little distance right now. With such a huge ensemble cast around Euphoria, skipping a few shared press moments wouldn't even be difficult. But fans online keep whispering that there might be another layer to the story. Online detectives have also been digging through old social media activity, and one detail in particular keeps getting dragged back into the spotlight. Some users resurfaced posts claiming Sydney once liked tweets praising Tom Holland's looks while he and Zendaya were already publicly together. At the time, it didn't seem like a huge story, but now people online are revisiting it and reading way more into the situation than before. Because of that, fans keep joking that whenever all three of them end up in the same space, the tension would be impossible to ignore. Whether those theories are exaggerated or not, the optics around the situation aren't exactly great. With the next season of Euphoria approaching, many commentators say Zendaya has every reason to stay far away from messy narratives that could explode online. At this point, some observers even argue it might be smartest for both actresses to keep their distance publicly. Any shared moment right now could instantly fuel new speculation and throw Zendaya into a situation she's worked very carefully to avoid throughout her career. But for a lot of people watching the drama unfold, the latest dating rumor is what really pushed the conversation into overdrive. Reports started circulating online, claiming Sydney might be linked to Scooter Braun, and that connection instantly raised eyebrows across social media. Considering his long list of public industry controversies, many viewers were shocked to even see the two names mentioned in the same headline. For critics, the issue goes deeper than just a rumored relationship. Some argue that Scooter Braun represents a side of the entertainment industry tied to power dynamics and values that clash heavily with the audience Sydney originally built during her rise. Whether the connection is real or not, the association alone has sparked intense debate online. To many observers, the situation no longer looks like carefully controlled controversy meant to keep her trending. Instead, they believe it feels like a clearer signal about where she stands now. And that's why some people are seriously questioning whether her career can return to the version fans once supported. If there's one final lifeline people keep pointing to, it's Euphoria Season 3. That project might be the last real moment for Sydney to remind audiences why so many viewers believed in her talent in the first place. She's still connected to a respected cast, strong writing, and the version of herself fans originally supported when her career first exploded. A comeback isn't impossible, but it would take real changes, real accountability, and a serious reset to win people back. One thing is clear though, she's not as untouchable as she once seemed, and this whole era has made that obvious. But now, I want to hear what you think. Do you believe there's still hope for her career, or has the damage already gone too far? Drop your opinion down in the comments and let's talk about it. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, share it with others, and subscribe for more deep dives like this. There's plenty more coming.